Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you are doing very well today. The topic for today's session is rule delegation in Pega. Okay, so delegation is a very powerful feature that Pega provides us. So in today's session, I will try to explain what rules you can delegate in Pega, what are the prerequisites you need to know before delegating a rule in Pega, and how do you actually see after you delegate a role, right? Or where do you see those delegated rules? And then some other basics also. Okay, so let's get started. So let me log in. Let me switch to the Dev Studio now. Okay, all right. So first, let's try to understand what is delegation. What is meant by delegation? So delegation in general, if I have to define, so delegation is the act of transferring the work from one person to another. So in Pega, what does delegation means? So the rules, there are many rules which are very frequently updated by different group of users. Let's take an example of, for example, a decision table. Okay, so let's assume that you have a decision table in Pega and you have certain conditions in the decision table. Now, if there is a very frequent change in business, to update the conditions of that decision table, so rather than you as a developer every time there is a change in that requirement, right? Rather than you as a developer coming back to the dev studio, creating a next version of your rule, updating the conditions, what Pega suggests is that why don't delegate that rule, which is very frequently updated from the business end directly to the access group of the business users so that they also will be enabled to update or make minor changes to the rules. Okay, so this is one example where delegation comes into picture. Okay, there are certain other scenarios also where you will be using delegation, but this is a very basic use case of how you use delegation in Pega. Okay, so there are certain prerequisites that we need to know before delegating any role in Pega. One of the prerequisite is that there is a privilege. The name of that privilege is PX can delegate roles. Okay, so if you as a user or operator in Pega have to use the delegation capabilities, so your access group and access role need to have this privilege, which is PX can delegate roles. If you don't have this privilege, then you will not see the option of delegating a role. So by default, this particular privilege, if you want to see in which role it is present, you can just do a all content search and you will be able to see that there are two AROs to which this privilege is tagged to out of the box. Okay, so the one sysadmin 4 is the role that is present in your authors, access group, users, and managers. The three roles that Pega creates is right whenever you set up your new application from the scratch. So by default, they will be having the sysadmin 4 role. And inside this sysadmin 4 role, you'll be able to see this privilege that I'm talking about, PX, can delegate roles. Okay, so in this application, I have not set up the security to a very detailed extent, but in real projects when you have different access group and access roles and you're trying to delegate a role from that particular access group or access role, you need to double check if you have this privilege or not. Okay, there might be instances where under the actions button of the rule you're not seeing the delegate option. If that is the case, that means the privilege is missing. Okay, so please take a note of this privilege which is needed in order to delegate a role in Pega. Okay, this is one important thing that you guys must be aware. Okay, so for now I have the privilege already, so I don't have to do any changes to it. Now, next topic, next point is what are the rules that you can, what are the most widely used rules that we delegate in Pega? So, like I already told, you can delegate a decision table. You can also delegate a decision tree, declare expression, flow action, when rules, and some other rules also. So, what I would recommend is go to PDN, try to check the list of all the possible roles that can be delegated. Okay, you cannot delegate every single rule in Pega, but there is a subset, a list of rules that Pega allows us to be delegated. Okay, so it's also important to know what are those rules, what are those list of rules that can be delegated. Okay, so let's jump. So this was a bit about the theory portion of it. Now let's jump to the practical side. Okay, so let me see if I have maybe a decision table already that I would try to delegate and show it to you guys. Okay, so let's click on the records explorer, expand decision, go to decision table instances, and I have already created a sample decision table, which is a fetch students category. I want to delegate this role to another access group, and I want to see how or where this particular delegated rules is visible. Okay, after successful delegation. So this is the rule. It's a decision table. How do you delegate? So on the actions, when you click on the actions button, you will see this delegate option. So when you click on it, a pop-up will come up and it will ask you like which access group you want to delegate. So you have to provide an access group. Access group is a set of users to whom this rule will be available as a delegated rule for them to edit it. Okay, so I have an access group called training managers, which I have created. So I want this decision table to be delegated to the access group training managers. Okay. Now title, what is title? So title is a short description or a text that will appear to this access group users, okay, in their portal. Okay, so let me give a meaningful name, um, student category table. Okay, and then detailed description. So detailed description is basically you give a content or you give a text for the people to understand, for the users to understand what this rule is doing. Okay, so for now let me give test, and then once you do this and hit the delegate button, this particular decision table will be delegated to trading managers access group. So let's delegate it. Now, how do you know if a role has been successfully delegated? So first thing is, whenever you delegate a role, right, an entry will be made into a class system user my rules. So to check that, let's go to the app explorer. Let's try to open this class system user, my rules. Okay. So whenever you delegate a rule, there will be a record inserted into this table. So if you see the first one, so if you see there's an entry made, training managers. This is the access group that I used for delegation. So let's open it. Okay, so if you see this decision table PZINS key is here, the one that I used. The name was fetch students category, right? So this is the entry that got, and this is the text. So you remember the title I added student category table. So basically, whenever you make a delegation, a record will be inserted into system user my rules. Now, in real projects, you will do the delegation in lower environments, and then you will have to deploy that, right, to higher environments. So in that scenarios, this piece of information will be useful, wherein you can take these instances from system user my rules and you can add it into your product rule whenever you are doing the deployment in order to deploy your delegated rules also to higher environments. So please take a note of this. System user my rules is the class in which records will be inserted after you delegate any role in Pega, and you have to take these instances while doing deployments to higher environments. Okay, now this was from the Dev Studio perspective. Now let us try to log in with an operator that is having the access group of trading managers, and let's see from the portal how they will be seeing the delegated roles. Okay, so I think I have an operator ID. Let me quickly try to log in with that operator that I have, and this manager, this operator is defaulted to the managers access group that I delegated the role to. So when you log it at with any operator to whom you have delegated a role, on the left panel you see a configuration tab. When you click on this, this is where all your delegated rules will appear. So if you see, for now there is one entry. Okay, and this is the name that I gave while delegating. This is the description that I added. So here there is an edit option. So when you click on this edit option, you'll be able to update the rule. Okay, this is how delegation works in Pega. Now, this is just the basic of delegation. There is much more to it, but I think to get started and to get familiar with delegations, this info will be helping you guys. Okay, I hope this was a quick, short and useful session on delegation. If you have any questions, please post it via comments so that I'll be able to answer those. Or if you want me to take any, any other rule type and show delegation in depth, I'll be happy to do that. So thank you so much for listening in. Stay tuned for more upcoming content. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.